What's up, guys? T-Roy here, T-Roy's Music and Lesson Academy. Hope you guys are having a great week, or had a great week. It's Friday now. We've had, again, some beautiful weather here. Hope you are having it too. And I wanted to talk about today acoustic guitar selection and 4 or 5 principal things that you need when selecting acoustic guitar, whether it's you're a beginner or whether you're an intermediate player. Especially beginners. It can be daunting, the price and the selection of different tops and cutaways and non-cutaways and pickup systems and no pickup systems and you know, type wood, thin bodies. There's all kinds of selections and different things, and the waters can get muddy. You go in there and you're really not sure on what's best for you. So I kind of wanted to break it down best I could to help you guys select the perfect guitar for you. Now, the very first thing that I suggest before you even walk into a music store, whether it be a mom and pop store like this one is, or you're online, or you're going to a big GC around your area, the first thing that you'll want to do is figure out what price point you're at. What do I have to spend? Where do I want to be? What is my maximum dollar that I can spend, what I can afford to spend? That's first and foremost. You want to know that before you walk into the store and talk to the sales, whoever the sales guy or girl is on the floor, because it's very important to have a gauge on where you need to be, or where you want to be, or where you can be. Now, a little tip in all this: I don't sell, even in this store anymore. Years ago we did, but I don't sell any acoustic guitar that is under $150. I have them for about $150, and that's where they start at. And there's a very good reason for that. I learned long ago selling these guitars that anything that you buy that's $99, especially and down, or even $125 and down, really, you got to think about it. Just break it down for a second. You're buying a guitar that has been made, and obviously they're made overseas. You're not going to probably find an American made that I know of, anything ever made in US for $125 or less, that you could get it for brand new. You're getting a guitar though that has been purchased, that you're purchasing for $125, that has been, think about the wood. They have to pay for the wood, the cut, the glue, the machine heads, whatever. Also the assembly of the guitar, which does cost the money. Now, yes, it is overseas, and yes, it's going to cost less than here, but still, they have to put this guitar together at a price and then ship it all the way over here. That costs a lot of money. And give the store, the music store, or whoever's purchasing this guitar to resell it, give it to them at a price that they can turn around and sell it to you for $99, $125 range. Now think about that. How good of quality can that be? All you're buying there is trouble. You're buying problems. Just for that extra $50 to $100 step up, the difference is night and day on what you get on quality. Now again, I'm not telling you that $150 guitar, even a $200 guitar, is high quality, but typically you get better machine heads, you get better frets. The frets are not as uneven and bad. They don't cut you. Some of them, the frets are not filed at all. They're just horrible, and you end up having to put money into that guitar, that $100 guitar. You put another $50 to $100 into it trying to get the thing to play. You've got $200 invested in a $100 guitar, whereas you could have put that towards that in the first place. Now, my suggestion is, if you don't have $150 or more, just wait. Save your money up. Save it up till you're able to make that purchase. Now, price is a huge thing. there are different tiers of price. I would say between $150 and probably the $200, $250 range-ish, right in there is the first tier I would look at. So let's say from $150 to $250. Then you're jumping up from the $250 to $300 range all the way up to around the $500 range. That is a huge, huge, huge jump on the guitars that are available, and the quality, the craftsmanship, the components that are in them. It's massive. It just is. If you're able to save your money to that point, to at least the $350, $400 range, and maybe to the $500, let's say right in there, $350 to $500 range, again, the jump is huge, huge in quality. To me, that's a guitar that if you take care of it, you can have it for years and years and years, and it can be a great, great guitar, a great player. So yeah, it really, really is a big deal to know your price point. But my suggestion is, don't buy anything in that $100 range that's new. It's just not, it's not worth it in the long run, what you'll have to do that guitar. Save your money. Try to get up to at least the $200 range right there in that pocket. If you can get up to around the $400 range, again, huge, huge step up. So just shoot for that. Number two, size of the guitar, the feel of the guitar. That is another huge thing. This is where, after you know your price point, you walk into the store and you see all these acoustics and you're like, holy smokes. It's a big, big deal. Guitars come typically in a full-size dreadnought shape. They come in parlor size, the smaller, and I'm fixing to go through some of these guitars and show you examples of all these, but come in cutaways, non-cutaways, but they come in different thicknesses of neck. Your neck thickness is a big deal. Going in and putting your hands on this guitar, everybody is different. I'm a tall guy. I don't have a real big belly, which allows me, I can get around on thicker, bigger guitars. There are some people that are shorter. Obviously, everybody's shaped differently. Everybody's hands are bigger or smaller than others. But you know, if you're a shorter guy or a shorter lady, obviously women tend to be much shorter than men. They also have issues with, just say it, they have breast the issues, because you know, obviously that pushes the guitar out, and ladies automatically, or most of the time, are shorter than men, so their arms aren't quite as long. So a lot of times they would like a thinner body, not a standard size bout or standard size thickness on a guitar. So yeah, that is a big deal. So you have to know that. So let me show you some of the differences. For instance, this guitar right here, let's start over here. This guitar is a full-size dreadnought guitar, non-cutaway. This guitar is in the range we were talking about. This one's $150 range, $130, $150 range, I believe it is, brand new. It's got the inlays all around the guitar. It also has an inlay around the rosette, but it's of course fake. It's nothing fancy. This guitar is a full-size body, as opposed to a guitar like this right here. This guitar, this is a thinner body. This is much more comfortable for people that, again, ladies love this guitar. I have a lot of my female students that are adult female students. I have bought these guitars from me because they, again, have a full size, they're shorter arms, and again, they have breasts, and you're going to have issues with that because it's just more comfortable to them to get around on a thinner body. These are always a great answer. They go over there and I'll put them in one and let them play it, and they're like, wow, this is so much better. You lose a little sound, you lose a bit of sound with the thinner bodies, but it's not so much you're like, oh man, I can't handle that. They're not as bassy. They have a little more mids and high range, but still, they're still a great guitar, because when you plug them up, most of them come with pickup systems like this one does here. When you plug them up, you're not going to know a whole lot. Once you plug them up and get your EQ, your amplifier and your EQ on your guitar set, they sound amazing. They play great, and this is a great alternative to that. Now, you notice this has a cutaway. The guitar I just showed you prior to this doesn't. Cutaway allows you to get down to these frets that you wouldn't before. You have to ask yourself, is that something I'm going to need? Is a cutaway something I need when I go in? Am I going to be just sitting around the house playing a few chords or around a campfire, strumming my guitar, or at a beach or wherever you go, just strumming some chords, and I don't need that, because obviously the more you cut out of a guitar, the less volume you're going to get. So cutaway does cut down on the acoustic volume a touch. It's not horrible, but it does cut it down some. But also, typically they cost a few bucks more for cutaways. Also, pickup system. Are you going to need a pickup? Are you going to be playing in a band or in church or wherever? Do I need to plug this guitar up ever? You may not. You may find that you don't need that, because a pickup's going to add to the price. Cutaway, just all these bells and whistles are going to add to the price. You need to find out what your needs are, what your wants are, and what you can afford. Also, tops. I'm going to talk tops. Laminate tops versus solid top guitars. Big difference. For the layman, a solid top is going to sound better. That's just the easiest way to put it. Your ears, they're going to be tonally better. They're going to be louder. They're just going to be a better guitar. A laminate top, the way you'll be able to tell a laminate versus a solid top, let me see if I can get a guitar to show you guys better. This is one way you can tell. But if you'll look at the grain on the guitar here, running up and down this guitar, if you'll follow the grain through to your sound hole right here, you'll notice on solid top guitars, the grain continues and wraps around the sound hole to the inside. Most of the time, a laminate guitar, you'll see stop right at the edge, and then there's a filler or some sort inside. So that is one way you're going to be able to tell the difference between a solid top and a laminate top. Back and sides are also, you can have solid or laminate back and sides. Solid, another, not foolproof, but a pretty good way to tell whether you have a solid back and sides, besides the model number, or hopefully getting a salesperson that is honest with you and will tell you what the guitar is. Everybody's an expert nowadays, guys. You have a phone, you have Google. Google the model number, and the model number should take you to the guitar. You should be able to tell and read about it. It should tell you whether it's a solid top, laminate top, whether it's solid or laminate back and sides, that kind of stuff. Every time you get solid wood, it's a, sorry about that. Had a customer walking in. But every time you have a solid top and solid back and sides, it's just going to sound so much better tonally. It's going to be louder. It's just going to be just a better quality guitar, and you pay more for that though. So if you'll look the back again, on the back, if you'll look at the grain on the back of the guitar, and you look inside and look at the back of the guitar, if the grains match to a degree, the very back, most of the time you have a solid back and typically solid sides of the guitar. That's not always the case, but for the most part, that's a pretty good telltale sign. It's a clue for sure. Now, you can also look up, again, I just talked about on your phone. Like I said, everybody's an expert with their phones nowadays. Anybody that does, even if you don't know, you can know. By looking it up, it'll tell you a description of the guitar. Typically, you can figure that out. So, yeah. Now, this guitar, again, let me go through the price points of a guitar. The first guitar, or one of the first ones I picked up, was this guy. This one starts it out. This one's at about $130, $150 range guitar. Nothing wrong with this. This is a good starter beginner guitar. I wouldn't sell anything less than this. This happens to be an Oscar Schmidt by Washburn. There's many brands you can get made in these same factories in that price range that will probably suffice for just starting out learning. They make them in just, of course, different colors, but now if you want to step up, this one is, I think, around 150 because it's got a spalted maple top. Spalted maple, for you guys who don't know, these little black lines and stuff running through there, that's a fungus that grows into the wood of the guitar, into the wood. It's more expensive, and when they cut it, it turns out to be beautiful. It really does. But so this is a little bit upgrade top, but it's still a laminate top. It's not a solid top guitar. Again, if you could see inside there, they've got a filler right there. The wood stops right there. It's a laminate top. It is not a solid guitar, but for $150, you're not gonna expect that. It jumps from there to this guy, this range. This is one of the best buys around. I have said I love these guys. This is a Seagull S6 original. This guitar, for the money, and you're looking at about a street price of around $350, $400 range, I believe. This guitar, I don't think you can get a better guitar, better made for what you get. Quality components, great machine heads. This is a lifer guitar. Now, I speak from experience on this guitar. This guitar is brand new. Let me show you this. This guitar is my personal. This is 23 years old. I have put this guitar through the mill. You can probably see the marks and scratches on it. Dents and dings, the little things. But I have played the heck out of this guitar. It sounds amazing to this day. Have done very little. When I first bought this guitar many years ago from my dad's shop when I was working for him, I was like, man, I barely did anything. I set it up just a touch. And all I've done since then is maintain it, clean it up, put a fresh set of strings on it, things like that. This is what I call my campfire guitar. When we go out camping, or when we go to wherever we go, trips that I'm not wanting to take my nicer acoustics, I take this one because it still sounds amazing. But this is what you can get. This guitar is still going 23 years later, and probably will still be going 23 more. It is great. It still plays great. I have no issues with this guitar. But that's the difference. If I were to have spent $150, $200 on a guitar like this, one of those, I can tell you it would be, by now, I'm not sure what I would have. I know I wouldn't have a guitar that plays this well out of the box and continues to be. But this is a tribute to their workmanship. But that other one, they still make the S6 original. It's a highly recommended guitar, but that's the jump. But then when you go from there, you can go to, let me do this. You can also different type guitars. This is what we call a parlor guitar. Now this guy is a Art and Lutherie, a little parlor size guitar. And they call this one Roadhouse Denim, but this has pickups in it. This is not a kid's guitar. Everybody thinks of, oh, it's a kid's guitar. This is actually a fairly expensive guitar. I think this maps at, let's see, $519 for this guitar is a map price. That's street price. It retails for about $640. But it is an amazing sounding guitar. It is of course, it's a smaller body. You're going to be a little more mids and high range. You're not going to have as big bass response on it. But these kind of guitars are so popular because guys like a small, compact, lightweight guitar they can throw over their shoulder. They can go, they may be playing little coffee houses or small little venues. They can plug up. When they plug up, have a big sound to them. And they just sound so good. They play amazing. Of course, for that price, you're getting so much. You're getting a solid top. The quality and workmanship is there. You're getting a smaller footprint of a guitar. It's not as big, but it's something he can go throw up a little small sound system, play, sing, go home, and they're just great little guitars. But again, this is a very specific guitar. If you are a beginner, this is not something I would suggest to you. But if you're an intermediate or advanced player that wants a guitar for that type situation, this is an amazing guitar. So you have to kind of know what you want, and again, goes back to price point, what you're wanting to pay. But we were at the around the $400 range earlier with that S6 original. This right here, we're jumping up. This is a Alvarez. Now this Alvarez with the cutaway, this the model is the MGA 66. CESHB. Now this guitar is a little cutaway. It's got all the inlays around the edges. I don't know if you can see it, but they're in Alvarez inlays. I absolutely love. I mentioned it on another video that I did on these. It's also sound around the rosette, or around down the sound hole rosette there. You can see beautiful, beautiful. Again, a solid top guitar. But this one retails for about $1,050. It maps for $699, so that's street price. What you can get it for is $699 pretty much anywhere. It has great upgrade pickups, built-in tuner, great machine heads. It has, you know, it has all the now this guitar is a guitar that if you have that kind of money and you've saved enough, you spend $700, you've got a guitar for life. You got a guitar that's going to you never have to upgrade unless you want to. And that's a choice, obviously, whether you want to spend more, or if you need more guitars. But everybody needs guitars. Hey, extras. That's what I tell my wife anyway. You know, everybody wants more guitars. But yeah, this is an amazing guitar. But this is going to jump up from about the $400 range to this one. Now I'm going to show you one more that actually, instead of going up, it's going to go down from this one just a touch. But it's that thin body that I showed you earlier. And this is a Seagull. Now this one is called the Entourage. It's an Autumn Burst. This is a new color, but this guitar again has a cutaway. It's the thin body, but these guitars are around that $519 street price. So you're jumping from about $400 to $520 here, and from this one to that Alvarez. But these are again, you're getting more bang for your buck. You're getting pickups, a great pickup system in the guitar, the Fishman pickup system, which is inside the sound hole there, not on the outside. You're getting great machine heads, solid top again, but you're just getting more bells and whistles, but you're paying more. But at the same time, for just that extra $200, $300 that you're moving up, you're getting a guitar that you can have for life. Guys, and I know you're thinking, man, well, I don't have that. Well, if it's me and I'm at $200, I would think I would wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it takes for you to save that extra $200 and jump up to that $400 range, because I think the difference at that $400 mark is night and day on guitars. Now, for you guys who have almost unlimited funds, which is not me. Now I know when I picked the guitar up that I just had earlier, starting the video, you're going to say, oh yeah, that's easy for you to say. You can get an upper end upgrade guitar. This, when I say upper end, those are upper end, but you can get, like, if you have the $2,000 to $3,000 range to spend, especially in the 3 and jump up, that's an amazing price point. But that's a guitar that you should expect all the highest quality woods, the tightest grains on the top of the woods, whether they're exotic woods or whatever you're getting, the best of the best. You're getting the best pickup system, the best machine heads, the best construction, neck, everything. There's just, you should have a flawless guitar when you get it at that price point. One that not only you can obviously have for life, but one that typically will appreciate in value. One that's going to be it's definitely professional quality. It's a recording quality. If you go into a studio, you would it's a guitar that, you know, can tackle anything. But the problem is most people don't have that kind of money. And you're saying, well, that's easy for you to say. You're holding a McPherson there. Yes, I am. And this McPherson was an unexpected surprise back in 2008. It was, my wife bought it for our anniversary, and it was like I was blown away that she would not just buy it for me. The money, you know, obviously they're not cheap. And I played the dickens out of it. Obviously, it's my favorite guitar. It's my favorite acoustic, I'll put it that way. I play this and I gig with this. I played it on in the studio. I played it. I play this guitar more than I probably play any guitar of mine. Including, I don't know, my electrics I play a lot, but it depends on which one. But for the most part, I would have to say all in all, I play this more than any guitar. But again, this is a guitar, a life guitar. This is a guitar I will never get rid of. And yes, it was a crazy amount of money. I'm not telling you guys that you have to get one of these to get the best. There are guitars that are half of this price $3,000 range that are amazing as well, and I have some of those. But out of all the guitars, the acoustics, even in that range, this is my favorite. But you have to. This goes back to price point. What can you afford? And not just what you can afford. What are you wanting to do? I mean, just because you can afford a $3,000 guitar doesn't mean you need one. I mean, you can go and spend $3,000 on a guitar, and all you do is play in your room at the house. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. If you have that money and you're like, you know what, I want a great guitar. I want to treat myself to an amazing Martin or a Taylor or a McPherson or whatever your flavor is. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of you guys that can't afford that. You're collectors, or even if you're not a collector, you just, like I said, want a great guitar. Nothing wrong with that. But you have to figure that out before you go into the store. Price point is huge. And not just price point, but what do you want on your guitar? Again, do you want a cutaway? Do you want a non-cutaway? Are you wanting a better guitar with a solid top? Do you want what kind of guitar, brand wise? Machine heads, thin body, full size body. There's so many things, variables, but you kind of need to do your research before you go in. But what I always tell people, the first thing they ask when they come in here and they're green, especially when they're not a player and they're coming in for their first guitar, they want a guitar. I ask them what the price point is, and they really don't know. And I'm sure not going to sell them a $100 guitar. I used to do that many years ago. I ended up having more trouble because I would have them bring them back and I'd have to try to fix them. It was more trouble for me, and by the time they ended up having to do some work on the guitar, which I was embarrassed for them to have to do, we said, forget this, man. This is just not worth it. It's not fair to the customer. We need to get them a guitar that we stand behind, that we know you can go home, pick it up, play it, and for the most part, it's gonna hold up for you. Now, you might want to set it up a little bit or get a professional setup done, and we'll do that. But yeah, spend at least $150 to $200 range. That is my one biggest, I believe, piece of advice to you, because I think you're going to be much more happy in the long run. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, you have to remember that when you purchase that guitar, it's just like purchasing a car or anything else. You're not just buying the guitar. You're buying an engine that needs gas. It needs oil. It needs a car that needs tires. There's accessories that some of them are needed. They're not things that you just want. They're things that you need to have. One is a gig bag. A gig bag, you can get a gig bag. If you get the guitar, most of the time, even an inexpensive guitar, you can get a gig bag nowadays, a pretty nice gig bag for $39, $40 range and up, depending on what bag, if it has embroidered logos of the company on and so on and so forth. But just a plain Jane, like a company like Cases, the gig bags, $39 all day long. They hold all your books, all your cables, your tuners, anything you want in there, your guitar. It protects your guitar from dust and dings. You can throw it over your shoulder. It's lightweight, but you need a gig bag. That's one thing you need to factor into your price point. Cables. If you get an acoustic electric and you don't have a guitar, and you're going to need a cable to hook it up to an amp. If you have an amp at home you want to hook it up to, you might already have that. If you do, great. Of course, picks, nothing big on there, but you need a few picks. Most of the time they'll give you those when you purchase a guitar, give you a few picks to start off, but even if they don't, picks are really inexpensive. Strings, you want an extra set of strings or two. So, 10 or 20 bucks there when you get a couple sets of strings. So you need to factor that in. If it doesn't have a tuner on the guitar, if you don't have electronics in there, then you might definitely want a guitar tuner. So at the very minimum, 20 bucks for a little clip-on tuner. You have, let me see what else I wrote down. Polish and straps. Guitar strap. Everybody needs a guitar strap. So you're looking at 10 bucks and up for a strap typically. You got to factor that in. Guitar polish. When you're restringing, you need to always wipe and clean your guitar up. Man, I do restrings all the time, just as most stores do, in setups, and you wouldn't believe when they bring them in. They say they've restringed their guitars fairly often, but when they bring them in for me to set them up or just restring them, they don't feel like doing it. I always clean the guitar up for them, and it looks like they've never wiped their guitar down since they've had it, and that's horrible. It needs to be cleaned and maintained. That will make it last longer, just like anything. So yeah, polish, not much there. But when you add all these little 5s and 10s and 20s up, it gets to be another $100, $50, $100 worth of gear. So add that into your price. Keep that in mind. If your budget's $200, then hey, at bare minimum, you're probably going to spend at least $50 more if you get a gig bag. If you get, let's say, a cable or a set of strings with it, you're at another $50. So, and then if you get a lot of extra stuff, such as a book to possibly help you learn if you're not going to take lessons, there's just a lot of variables. So always add an extra $50 to $100 to the sale, unless. And here's the caveat to this. Here's the thing. Unless you're buying an upgrade or a higher end guitar. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes they'll either come with a gig bag or they'll come with a case, a hard shell case. And again, one more thing I'd like to add before we end this video. I get people ask me all the time, hey man, do I need a hard case or a gig bag? And here's what I answer. First off, if you're buying, let's start here. If you're buying a $150 guitar, you don't want to go spend $100 or $150 range, somewhere in that area, on a hard shell, nice ABS molded case. I mean, you don't want to spend as much as you are on the guitar on the case, first off. Secondly, unless you're doing a lot of traveling, you're flying, you're in a band, you're throwing it into a back of a pickup truck or a trailer and going gig to gig, really a hard shell case is not the way you want to go. Even I don't carry my guitars in a hard shell case. If I'm going to a gig or if I'm playing at a church or whatever I'm doing, I'll throw it in a nice padded gig bag and all my stuff going there. It's lightweight. I don't have to carry that heavy case around. You don't want to have to do that. They're much less expensive. Now for this guitar, I do have a more expensive, but it is a gig bag. I have both a hard shell case and a gig bag. I don't use the hard shell case for this. It's much heavier. The gig bag, I have a nice higher end gig bag for it, but it's lightweight. But that's the way to go. I would always suggest a gig bag. It's going to be less money, way less money. It's going to suit your needs most of the time. If you're going back and forth to a friend's house, like I said, you're playing in a band, playing at a church, whatever you're doing, it's going to be the way to go. Going back and forth to lessons, all my students, I always suggest gig bags, and I would say almost 100% of them, that's what they carry back and forth to lessons. I think we have one student that brings a hard shell case in here for an acoustic. But other than that, everybody brings gig bags because that's the way to go. It just really is. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to try to clear the air and streamline this process for you guys a bit more. I know it can be daunting when you walk in there, especially if you're a newbie and you walk in there and you don't really know what you want, you don't know what your price point, you see all these guitars. First thing the salesman's going to do in a bigger box store, typically, they're going to try to upsell you the best, the best and the most, the highest end guitar they can, because a lot of them are working on commission. Hopefully if you get a good store, a smaller store, which I suggest supporting, they're going to be honest with you because they want you to come back. They need you to come back, and yeah, they're going to tell you what's best for your needs. You don't want to go in with, I don't know how much I want to spend, I don't know what I want. If you can at least have a price point at the very least, that will put you in a box, in an area that they can look at. And so try to stay in that area. Just remember, in my opinion, the $200, $150, $200 range and up, you're good. Between $200 and $500 is a beautiful area to be. You've got a lot of choices and a lot of great guitars out there. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video today. And I hope it helped clear the air on some of the differences in guitars. I probably didn't answer all the questions. Obviously, I know I didn't. But if you guys have a question I didn't answer, please put the question in the box below. I love to communicate with you guys. I try to always get back on every comment if possible, if I can. I appreciate all your comments, and keep them coming. Keep the questions coming. If you have a question I didn't answer, I'll be happy to do it. So pop it in the box below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it so much. Also, if you have a friend or someone who's not sure about what guitar to buy, show them this video, share it with them. That's a great way to obviously grow the channel, is you guys sharing these videos. We really appreciate it. And also, last but not least, please subscribe. If you guys subscribe, we'll grow the channel together, and it is growing, and I really appreciate all the support y'all have given me, and that's what we're trying to do. So yeah, we'd love to have you on board. Consider subscribing, and I believe that's it. All right, guys, y'all have a wonderful weekend. Hope you have a happy Mother's Day weekend. It's Mother's Day this weekend. Go out and tell your mother how much you love them and how much they mean to you. Hopefully you'll get to take them out to eat, do something, but whatever you do, be safe and enjoy the weekend. And that's it. Remember, guys, play like it's your last day. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.